Welcome to the Tired of Talking podcast. I am your host, Carmen Rozier, and this is the podcast where we talk about all the things we are tired of talking about that we want to put an action plan to. Come to the place where you can rediscover, recreate, and redesign your life. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Tired of Talking podcast. I'm your host, Carmen Rozier. I help divorced mothers who have experienced trauma in their divorce to reveal what they need to heal in order to live their best lives and move on to their next. The only way I can do that is that I had to be able to successfully do it myself. You guys, have you ever woke up one day, looked around at your life, your job, your circumstances, where you live, the people in your life, and asked yourself, how did I get here? Who am I in all of this? What is my purpose in this existence? Have you looked at your life and just wondered that it was unimaginable that you would be in that place, especially if you have gone through a divorce? When you get married, that's supposed to be till my death did I part, till my death do we part, right? So you don't imagine, you can't imagine. You find yourself ill prepared for your circumstance. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Let's get into it. So I know for me, in 2012, that was the turning moment and the shift in my life. Let me paint the picture for you. I had a bubbling little 2-year-old little girl. I got to do the math in my head because I got 4 kids. So it's like, okay, how old were they in 2012? I know my son was a senior in high school, 2012. And so he was 17, about to be 18. And then my daughters in the middle were 9 and 11. So 2012, I had a 2-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a high schooler. And all I can tell you is that my divorce was traumatic for me because I was going through a lot with trying to already maintain the family that I had with this +1 person, being my 4th child, and being a mother of 4, being a full-time employee. I worked a job, 3rd shift. So I was already like bubbling over with responsibility and everything that I had to do. And all I can say is one day I woke up and my husband just did not come home, y'all. And when I say did not come home, I mean he didn't come home. And as I'm saying this, there's some revelation because it was time that passed. It was a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no call, no show. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, days went on. And then because this was a familiar place and space for me, I started to make some decisions. I started to question everything. Like, oh my goodness, like my life literally was falling apart right before my eyes. So he just didn't come home. That was very traumatic for me. I was also coming to terms with the fact that my 4th child was my last child. I had some complications with her delivery. I had a face-to-face, literal coming to Jesus experience with her delivery in the hospital for 12 days. And then, coming to terms with this is my last baby. So I'm transitioning in life. So no longer able to have any more children because that last child, it wasn't, some people make the decision at 4 kids, like, oh, I'm done, that's enough. And they opt to have, their tubes tied or all those things. That wasn't necessarily where I was. For whatever reason, I had this magic number of 5 in my head. I said I was going to have 5 kids. Don't ask. I just said I wanted 5 kids. So it's a different circumstance and situation when someone else makes that choice for you, even if it's the best decision to make. And honestly, I was close to 40, when I had her. So it's not that I necessarily wanted to have more children. It was just um, a realization that I had come to a season in my life where this was not an option for me anymore. So that kind of did something to me. And we'll talk more about that. But I'm abundantly blessed to have the four beautiful souls that are my children. So I'm so fulfilled in that area. But I was dealing with that. And then, I think there's some post-traumatic trauma that happens when you have life death situations and surgery. So I believe that I know that I was experiencing some things there. So, I was going through a lot, and then my son was transitioning, and like literally I'm breastfeeding and doing driving school. And then, my two daughters in the middle, they're in their self-discovery phases as, what do you call them? Preteen, tween girls and their hormones. So just a lot going on. And then in my company, there was all kinds of, shifts going on. And then after over a decade of working for a company, again, coming to the term that that was also shifting. So my job was coming to an end, and just everything was being shaken in my life. So in that particular season, that particular time, that is when my husband decided that he wasn't coming home anymore. There was no conversation. There weren't any fights. There was just this tension. There was a lot going on, with my son at that time. If you tune into my podcast, maybe at a later date, we'll get into that and what was going on in 2012 at that time. But at that time, that was when the shift took place. So I had a traumatic experience trying to, juggle all of those, my career, what was I going to do professionally, as a woman, you know. And so for me, I did question everything about how did I get here, what was going on, what was I going to do. So true to form, going through all of that, you have your community around you. And for me, where did I spend most of my time? Work. And I spent a lot of time talking about my situation to whoever would listen. And y'all know who y'all are. God bless you, because Lord knows I have the gift to gab, and I will talk all of the ears off in the room. And so that's not fair to people that, I've learned. But at that time, that is exactly what I was doing. So when I say tired of talking, it's like, okay, Carmen, you talking about this. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? And I didn't even realize that I had taken on a victim mentality. I was tired. I felt like I didn't have help. There was all kinds of shifts and changes going on. And I really just didn't know what my life was about to be, what was going on. And I know I'm going to give you guys, I want to talk about 3 tips, 3 things that I did in order for me to begin to move forward. And the first part is, who am I in all of this? Okay, traumatic divorce, all of that aside, when all of the smoke is gone and it is just you, when the kids are asleep and it's just you, when your phone is quiet and nobody is calling you and it is just you, that is the first step to moving forward, is getting to know who you are. Because I was giving so much to work. I was giving so much to my children. And the more children, the more you spread yourself. And then all of them in their activities. And I was showing up, and I found myself lost when all the smoke was clearing, because then I was left alone. And then when I had to deal with myself and get to know me, let's talk about that second thing. You're going to start to see some things about yourself, learn some things about yourself. And for me, every voice of insecurity and being unworthy started to chime and just ring very loud in my ear, feeling like a failure in life, a failure in my marriage, a failure as a mother, a failure in my career. And those are the things that began to consume me. So as you are getting to know who you are going to start to have those feelings. We all have those feelings, but those are not the truth. So I had to acknowledge a lot of those insecurities and get to the root of where those voices were coming from. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I'm a huge advocate for journaling. So when you are getting in that get to know yourself season, get out a pen and paper, keep a journal, write. It is therapeutic on so many levels. I can't even explain. It's one of those things that you have to just do. But when I started to write out those things, and then that's the next thing you want to do because you're tired of talking, you want to put action to some things. Find a therapist. It's okay. Say it with me. It is okay to not be okay and need to reach out to someone else. So I got therapy because some of these voices and some of the things that were coming up were beyond my scope. They were unimaginable. But I was discovering the little girl that was screaming those insecurities. When you are a grown person and you have some insecurities and voices that tell you, and I say they are the lies about yourself, and they begin to tell you things about yourself and they're loud, that is a screaming child on the inside of you. And I dare somebody to tell me different. That is a screaming child on the inside of you. And so that little person, that little girl, that little boy, you have to be your rescue. You have to go back. So getting that journal and getting that therapy were very integral to my steps of moving forward. I'm sharing all this to say that that is the precipice or the beginning of rediscovering. The rediscovering of yourself is such a spiritual journey. It is such a fulfilling process to developing and getting to your next that it does require, and I say it takes a community and a village, and I had that. It is so key. It is so awesome, and it is necessary. It is necessary. You know, you got to put the mask on yourself, they say, before you can help someone else. But I dare to say that when you are drowning and those waves in the water start to overcome you, you need someone to stick that staff inside and to help pull you out. And so that became my truth. So like I said, those three things of getting to know you, getting by yourself, getting your journal, and getting your therapy. And like I said, I help divorced mothers who have experienced that, because now that I have begun to see the light on the other side, that I am walking in my greatness, that I am walking in my purpose. I am purposed to come back and get the people who are looking for that help and are looking for that staff to help pull you out. It is the best thing that could have ever happened. And as I sit here and look back in retrospect, there's a lot of things that I got to know about myself and still things that I'm getting to know about myself. And this is a journey that I didn't take alone. It's a journey that I want to continue as I grow my community. I am inviting and welcoming you all to join me on your walk. So if you find yourself sitting and looking around at your life and everything around you is not aligning with the vision or the hope that you have for your own future, all hope is not lost. There is a next on the other side. And I am here to help you rediscover, recreate, and redesign your life. Join my community on Instagram. You can find me on Blessed Trinity, spelled with a 3, on Instagram. Join my community so that we can connect. And then you will receive a free copy of my book, Till My Death Did We Part, The Life, Death, and Resurrection of a Family. Like I said, there's more to my testimony, and I do go deep and very transparent about my journey and how I got to where I am. And I look forward to sharing those with you and hearing from you. So tune in next week. And remember, everybody, it is okay not to be okay, and talk about the things that you want to talk about. But at some point, you want to get tired of talking. And what are you going to do about it? And we're about doing it here. So I'm going to leave you with that now. Peace, love, and light. And I will see you next week.